Good evening. Good evening. I appreciate the energy out there tonight. I just want to extend a warm welcome to you. And I think all that energy that we have in the boardroom tonight is really to be directed towards our students. And we're happy to serve our students. Pleased that you've joined us. Basically, we're here to celebrate achievement. We're going to review information and then make policy decisions related to the effective operation of the Polk County School Board. So I would like to call the May 14th, 2024 regular school board meeting to order. Now, I would like to ask Reverend Deborah White if you could please come forward and give our invocation. And I would ask that you all stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for the privilege of being able to ask you to be present during this board meeting today. I ask that you bless each one of these board members as well as our superintendent, and we are thankful for their dedication and devotion to Polk County and to the education of its 115,000 students. Thank you for giving them wisdom beyond their intellect and natural skills as they administrate this massive task of educating our diverse population in our county. Let the details serve every student so that our schools will produce solid citizens and the skills needed for our future workforce. Thank you for safety over the next few weeks as the awards and graduation ceremonies highlight each student's hard work. As summer break begins, thank you for bringing everyone safe and back again in August. Thank you as the board makes plans for the 2024-25 school year that the decisions will be filled with divine wisdom. Keep us safe, Lord. In your name, amen.
Thank you, Reverend White. We do have a guest that's going to come up to the microphone now, so thank you. And we have Jalissa Brooks, who's going to lead us in the pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amazing. Everybody can be seated at this point, except you. Wow. So thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
And we've had a chance to read your bio, but there's a lot of people in the audience that they don't know much about you. So we would love to find out something about you. I only have 5 simple questions. But first of all, if you can introduce any guests that you have with you tonight.
I have my dad and my brother.
Wow, awesome. If y'all can just wave, say hello. All right, very good. Glad y'all are with us tonight. All right, so the first question, maybe tell us something about you, something about yourself that we should know.
I like to do art and gymnastics.
Wow. So art and gymnastics, that's amazing. Now, we heard a little bit about you're maybe like the top in your class in gymnastics as well. So congratulations, that's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
How about reading? I've heard something about that. Do you like to read?
Yes.
Yes. Is there any particular author or book that you like to read or a series?
I like to read Jenna B. Jones.
Wow, Junie B. Jones, what a great series. Okay, so favorite subject at school?
Art.
Art, wow. If you can choose 2 colors to represent us in your paintings, if you're going to draw us, what colors would you choose?
Blue and white.
Wow. All right, very good, very good. Do you like to draw? Do you like to paint? Do you like to do sculpture, ceramics? What's your favorite within art?
Paint.
Paint. Very nice, very nice. So if you can choose what you want to be or do when you grow up, what would that be?
A professional gymnast.
No way. Wow, that is amazing.
We'll see her at the Olympics.
I think so, yes. Can we be your audience member? Yes? Yes. Very good. So, okay, so tell us what school you're at.
What'd you say?
What school do you attend?
Purcell Elementary.
Purcell Elementary. Wow, very nice. And if you could give us one of your favorite things about being at Purcell Elementary, what would it be?
The teachers.
Oh, man, that is awesome. Very good, very good. Now, do you have somebody from Purcell Elementary with you, behind you?
The principal.
Oh, really? Well, can you introduce your principal and have the principal stand for us as well?
Yeah.
And let's give our fearless leader a round of applause. Yes. Go ahead.
Please raise your right hand for the Panther Pledge.
Oh,
I pledge today to do my best in reading, math, and all the rest. I promise to obey the rules in my class and in the school. I respect others and myself too. I'll try my best in all I do. I'm here to learn all I can and show that success is what I understand.
amazing. Well, on behalf of the board, this is amazing.
Wow, we
Yeah.
need to say that pledge.
Well, we are so thankful that you're in the board with us tonight, and this is how we start, to really honor you and really appreciate everything that you're doing. Continue to stay strong at the end of the school year here. So your guest, your family, thanks for being here with us. So I think at this point, you all can stand in the middle, and there's going to be a picture, I believe, that's taken. In recognition of you, yes. So if everybody can gather towards the center. There she is.
So precious.
And let's give Jalissa another round of applause. All right, board members. Again, thank you for being here with us tonight. So the first item on our agenda is to accept our agenda for this evening. So Superintendent Hyde, are there any revisions to the agenda as printed?
Mr. Chair, board members, there are several amendments. Item B is in boy number 1, new administrators, attachments were added. Item E number 2, approved minutes of the April 23rd, 2024 work session meeting, minutes were added. Item G1, board member travel, June 13th, 2024 through June 16th, 2024. Annual Leadership Florida was updated further. Item K number 1, non-instructional personnel actions, attachment was updated. Item O1, purchase of instructional materials from Florida School Book Depository Teaching and Learning was removed. I'll explain that later. Item P number 2, student code of conduct was moved from action to public hearing. And finally, item P number 8, staff district updates was added. That concludes the amendment, sir.
All right, thank you, Superintendent. So at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to accept the agenda for May 14th with the noted revisions. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Ms. Cunningham made the motion and Ms. Fields seconded. So the motion on the floor is to accept the May 14th, 2024 school board agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And that motion carries. And then the next item up is new administrators. Superintendent Hyde, would you lead us through our next item?
I'm sorry, sir. I voted in the last aye. I'm sorry.
Glad you're
I never get to vote. So I just jumped right out at it. It is absolutely my pleasure this evening to introduce our new administrators. First and foremost, we have Ashley Surgeon, Acting Director, Community Liaisons, being promoted to Director for Community Liaison.
Nice. Good evening.
Evening. Thank you so much for Superintendent Hyde for having me for this role and the school board for approving it. I am looking forward to representing the Central Region. I know those are all the schools that I grew up going to, so I'm really excited to be back supporting those schools and helping them get partnerships that they need to be able to thrive and succeed. I have some classroom experience in Polk County Public Schools. I worked at Elbert and Wendell Watson Elementary School prior to my time at Polk Vision, where I was able to get some of those business and community partnership relationships. So I'm very excited to let those two worlds collide and be able to serve in this position. So thank you so much, and excited to work forward with the Community Liaison Director team.
Very good. Thank you.
Ms. Surgeon, do you have family? You have family here with you. Why don't you bring them down so we can...
Yes, I have my handsome husband, Chris.
Nice.
And she's also.
And the baby. That's
But you're also Sarah Beth's sisters, right?
Thank you.
Very nice.
Next, we have Damian Jones, Assistant Principal at Denison Middle Schools, being promoted to Principal at Denison Middle. Not with us this evening. We will make sure to bring him back to a subsequent meeting. Making that type of transition, he needs to be recognized publicly. Next, we have Hillary Wright, Administrative Assistant at Citrus Ridge, a civics academy, being promoted to Assistant Principal at Citrus Ridge.
Hey, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you. I have a little bit different path to this podium. I'm a career changer. So I watched my daughters thrive at Davenport School of the Arts, and I heard this whisper to say, hey, why don't you go become a teacher, which is the hardest job in the world, right? Teaching is the hardest job. But I did what anyone would do. I Googled how to become a teacher in Polk County schools, and I was connected with Lori Christopher. Lori Christopher has no idea who I am, but I'm grateful to her because she helped me get my professional teaching certificate. Another wonderful woman I met early on is Dr. Nikisha Leatherwood. It was at my first job fair, trying to secure my first teaching position, and she did not hire me at that job fair, but we are connected still. She's been my mentor ever since, and she did end up hiring me, and here we are today. So I'm serving as her assistant principal today at Citrus Ridge Civics Academy. I do have a loving family. They're not here tonight. They are at DSA for an award ceremony, but they'll just watch this later and like and subscribe on YouTube. So, okay, so thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have Veronica Bienami, student success coach, at Lake Region High School, being promoted to acting assistant principal at Lake Region High School.
Good afternoon. I would like to first thank Superintendent Hyde and the board members and my principal, Amy King, for this opportunity and the opportunity to serve at Lake Region High School. This promotion is very special to me because I am an alumni of Lake Region High School, class of 2007, and a product of Polk County Public Schools from grades K through 12. Yeah. When I was going through the Aspiring Leaders program and the final interview phase, one of the interviewers asked me, "Why do you want to be an assistant principal?" It did not take me long to form an answer. I simply want to see the students that feel unseen, hear the students that feel unheard, and support teachers in any way that I can. All for the sake of student achievement, because that is the goal, right? To my first principal ever, Anita Fine, thank you for taking a chance on me as a first-year teacher. I would not be where I am today without you. To my current principal, Amy King, thank you for choosing and trusting me with such a weighty and important job. I'm honored to glean from your leadership each day. To my mom, thank you for always being present, encouraging, and supporting my many endeavors. Thank you for being my #1 role model, and I consider it an honor to follow in your footsteps as an educator. To my brother, thank you for your endless support along this journey. In closing, being a classroom teacher taught me the importance of building relationships with students. Being a student success coach taught me to never, ever count a student out. Even if they have a 1.2 GPA semester 1 of their senior year, there is still hope. I look forward to seeing what an assistant principal will teach me. And once again, I'm honored to be serving at the best high school in Polk County. Thank you.
That concludes our new administrators for this evening, sir.
All right, well done. Thank you, Superintendent. Moving down, we are now at special recognitions, and really excited. We've got 5 areas here. So next, for you, Superintendent, if you can lead us through this.
So I'm going to be moving back and forth here to join many of these individuals and groups on the floor to take photos. The first group, I'm proud to share that this is the second year in a row that we were selected to participate with the state of Florida and College Board on Florida prepaid scholarships. The requirement is that the first 2 scholarships have to be awarded to students in grade kindergarten or lower, so pre-K and kindergarten, and then we have the discretion to award the scholarships to 3 other students in grades, obviously grades 1 through 12. We are very excited. These scholarships are for 2 years, and they basically equate to $8,000 worth of free college tuition for these students. They are randomly selected, so all of our students are eligible for this award. We have 1 pre-K student being recognized this evening, 1 kindergarten student, 1 each from elementary 2nd grader. We have a middle school 8th grader, and we have a high school 11th grader that will all be receiving these scholarships. So I will be stepping down so that we can give them their awards, and Ms. Everett will be sharing their names with us this evening.
Good evening. So I get the pleasure of announcing and recognizing our recipients this evening. Our first student is from, Socrum Elementary School. He's a pre-K student. He's unable to join us this evening, but his teacher, Mr. Tyrone Fain, will be here to accept the check. Mr. Fain, if you'll come up and join Mr. Hyde, please. I'm sorry. Just a little bit important. Our kindergarten student this evening was selected from our last year's group of early bird camp students, so there's incoming kindergartners. So this is a shameless plug for this summer's early bird camp, and that student is Vander Kirk, and he is from Belicita Elementary School. And if Vander and his family will come up.
Wow. Love it. That's pretty cool. That's fun.
Our second grade student is Tioni Sky Party from Chain of Lakes, and she's also unable to join us, but accepting the check on her behalf is Principal Susie Nelson and Assistant Principal Chaz Harris. Our 8th grade student from Lake Gibson Middle School, Mary Elise Brana. Come on down. Congratulations. They need that money.
With that many siblings, I'm really happy we could help.
And our high school student from Lakeland Senior High School in grade 11 is Israel Castro Velasquez. Come on down. Congratulations to all our recipients.
I will go ahead and speak from down here since I have to come back and forth. At this time, I'd like to invite Carl Griffith, coordinator for the Florida High School Barbecue Association Cook-Off, to please come forward and recognize the winning high school teams. Right.
All right, good evening. My name is Carl Griffith. I am a teacher at Gauze Academy, just down the road here. Fantastic staff and fantastic administration. I just need to get that out there real quick. I trust that you guys have finally settled from your barbecue meal.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
So good.
There was naps during the meeting, wasn't there?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if y'all fall asleep, that's the Roosevelt boys' fault, right? So anyway, like I said, my name is Carl Griffith. I'm a third-generation Polk County teacher. Been doing this for 24 years now. Finally landed at Gauze Academy. I love it there. And most importantly, I fell into this high school barbecue game. And I'm going to talk to y'all about that a little bit this evening. So we are the Florida High School Barbecue Association. It is being started right here in Polk County. We have 5 teams at this point, 5 schools participating. That would be Fort Meade, George Jenkins, Lake Region, and Roosevelt, and Bartow. Bartow finally got to cook with us 2 weekends ago for the state championship. The bottom line is that this is a program that was initiated by teachers, and it is student-centered. I think it's a great program, and I love the fact that it started here and that it's growing. I'm expecting hopefully to start next year out with at least 8 teams. And hopefully Hardee County is going to come in with us, and we got a couple other counties that are interested. I just got to get them set up for next year. But most importantly, let me introduce you to the teams. First of all, we've got Fort Meade High School barbecue team. Come on up. Their coaches are Christy Carrillo and Karen Kohler. All right. Next team is Lake Region High School. I forgot to tell you that the Fort Meade is the Smokin' Miners, and the Lake Region is the Lake Region Thunder Thighs. That is their barbecue team. Headed up by Seth Lambert and Corin Hart. All right, next up we got the Roosevelt Academy East Street Competition Barbecue Team, headed up by no other than Danny Sharpless. And let me introduce you to the first barbecue team that I know of that was formed in the state of Florida. George Jenkins High School, they are known as GJQ. And the awesomely talented Mr. Townley is their coach. And he and I started that together a few years ago. Okay. Bartow High School's new at it, and they're still trying to figure out their name. But they are headed up by Jackie Fath. Oh, come on down. I think that's everybody, right? All right, so just real quick, we had about 3 cook-offs this year. I just want to run down some of the finishing results for those, just so you can get a kind of idea of what happens. Generally, after a competition, they do their meat categories, and then we aggregate the score, and that'll decide the overall winner. But you have champions for each contest in each category. Our categories this last year were skirt steak, pork chop, half chicken, ribs, and we only did those 4 this year. We're going to add some in next year. We had a competition at Lake Region, and that was back in February, I believe, or March. I can't remember. So the Skirt Steak Taco Champions that weekend was Roosevelt East Street competition team. The Pork Chop Champions were Lake Region Thunder Thighs. The Chicken Champions were Roosevelt East Street barbecue team. And ribs were Fort Meade Smoking Miners. And the overall grand champion for that cook-off was the Roosevelt East Street competition barbecue team. Now, we just had our state championship. First 5 teams, and I don't have the rundown of that with me right now, but we'll just talk about the overall state champion. Our state champion, Florida High School Barbecue Association, along with the National High School Barbecue Association, GJQ. Now, they did qualify to go to the Nationals this year, but it's going to be in June. We're not going to be able to get them there. My goal for next year is to, whoever the state championship is, our state champions are, we're going to send them out to Nationals, and part of the prize will be the paid trip. And I'd like to take a couple other teams with us. I'm going to figure that out over the summer. So let's get on. I do want to talk about some of our community barbecue boosters, okay? First of all, BJ Mannix, come on down for a minute, BJ, please, quick. BJ Mannix of Mannix Pools and Grills in Winter Haven. He's hooked up Lake Region with multiple Green Mountain pellet grills, and that's a pretty significant gift. And also recently got Winter Haven High School up and running. We're going to have them join us next year. Greatly appreciate your support. Thank you. All right, Nicole Nugent and Chad Ward from Whiskey Bent Barbecue Supply. Now, I used to work at the store and also used to cook on their competition team. They couldn't make it tonight, but they hooked up George Jenkins with multiple Traeger grills and other supplies from their store in Lakeland. Jim Elser of Sweet Smoke Q. He supplied sauces, rubs, and sweet smoke barrel smoker to GJQ. I don't have time to explain that to you, but it's a nice gift. Logan and Kim Hancock of White Oak Barbecue Supply here in Bartow. They just hooked up Bartow High School with 2 Green Mountain grills, and as a part of raising money for a memorial for Curtis Hancock, who unfortunately passed away recently. He was one of the owners of the store. He was a good man, gone too soon. They raised almost $4,000 to help Bartow get started with their barbecue team. So, thank you to them for hooking those guys up. And they also, a while back, hooked up Fort Meade with a Green Mountain grill. One of my friends that's on the barbecue circuit, Jay McBride from Butts on the Barbie Competition barbecue team here in Bartow, donated a new Green Mountain grill and a used Green Mountain grill to Bartow High School because they're going to be fielding 2 teams next year. Finally, Mr. Blackburn from Blackburn's Barbecue has been a strong supporter of Lake Region High School. Many of the competitions that they've done outside of Florida High School Barbecue Association, like Mulberry and Haines City, he supplied the meats for them. So he's definitely a great barbecue booster. And finally, Polk County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Grady Judd and Miss Ruth McDonald contacts me, and I get more pellets and charcoal than we can use, but we're working on using them up. So they've been a great partner for the high school kids here in Polk County as well. And real quick, I do want to recognize Mr. and Mrs. Bird, Jason and Jackie Bird. They're the ones that came to me and brought up the idea of starting a high school barbecue team a few years ago. I was working at the store. They gave me the idea. I told them to let it rattle in my brain for a little while because I was busy. But here we are. They're the ones that really kind of planted this seed, and here we are today. Oh, and one other important person, Bobby King. He's retiring from public soon. He used to be on the barbecue competition trail, and he donated an entire competition barbecue trailer that is basically set up for vending for our teams to use. So next year, and by the way, Robbie Davis down at the bus garage and his crew got that up and running for us on the road, so I appreciate you, Rob. And we're going to use that to say when GJQ wants to go to Pig Fest, they can sign it out like a library book and go use it for the weekend. Or if somebody needs to do a fundraiser, any school has access to it. So that's a really neat resource to have, and I want to thank Mr. King for that. I also want to thank y'all for the opportunity to come up here and present our teams to you. And we'll have to get you on the judging sheet next year. I'll reach out to you and we'll figure that out. Y'all have a great evening. Thank you, Mr. Hyde.
Just a note as they file out, one of the things, they don't give themselves enough credit, but the coaches go out of their way. And for students who want to practice their barbecue skills at home, where their parents will actually benefit from that, they actually deliver them. They will trailer them to a student's home, they'll drop them off, they'll help set them up, and then they come pick them up afterwards. And so it's a truly strong, dedicated team of educators we have supporting this program. They deserve a lot of credit. So. And it's got to be hard for them watching students try and cook, you know, because many of them are very good at this and very talented, meaning our staff. And I think there's times they want to interject more knowledge and experience and kind of guide students, but they let them work at their own pace. They let them, you know, basically yield the results that they yield. And it's an incredible program, and one that, you know, I think is really exemplary as to where initial academy programs should go. We have to continue to embrace that entrepreneurial spirit of innovation, because culinary is culinary, but this is a great pathway and a segment for our students to pursue possible career-wise. The fact that Blackburn Barbecue supports them, he's a great gentleman. He's very supportive of the entire school district, and I really appreciate him, but I don't know that I would be so gracious knowing that I'm raising the next generation of competitors to basically compete me out of the marketplace, but you know, God bless him for being out there and supporting our kids. So next, I'd like to invite Jeanette Crowley, Director of Strategic Planning and Partnerships, to come forward. She's going to recognize our District Advisory Council members this evening. And thank you for their time and commitment throughout the year.
Chair, Vice Chair, school board members, and Superintendent Hyde, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I'm excited to recognize our 2023 through 2024 District Advisory Council members. The council serves in an advisory role to the superintendent and pays particular attention to the district's strategic plan, especially regarding goals for improving student performance and overall district improvement, and to serve as a link between the district, the schools, and the community. The 35-plus diverse council is inclusive of community and faith-based leaders, business partners, civic organizations, parents, SAC representatives from across Polk County. Two focus areas that were tasked with by Superintendent Hyde this year were school attendance and school start times. This engaged group of volunteers presented 5 education town halls throughout Polk County, bringing information and awareness to our community on House Bill 733, middle school and high school school start times, that was recently passed by the Florida legislature. Please join me in congratulating and thanking our District Advisory Council members as I call each of their names. Tanya Akutwe. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your last name, Tanya. Tanya also served as our vice chair this year and will be incoming chair for next year. And then Tanya, I'm going to ask for you to stay over here so we can do a group photo as well. Nathan Bramer. Jessica Correll. Crystal Davis. Julie Davis. Ryan Delavaneri. And Ryan has served as our chair of DAC for the past 2 years, and I tell you, he does a phenomenal job, and every time after I have a conversation with him, I have a list of 10 more things I need to do. He's just really great asset and an ambassador for Polk County Public Schools. Heather Ekblad. Joseph Griffin. And Joseph served as our vice chair this year. We'll continue that next year. Artesia McGriff. Francisca Mendez. Dr. Erica Moore. Dr. Melody Ryder. James Ring. Veronica Roundtree. Kristen Stanek. Shannon Studd. And Axe Torres. I want to thank all the members that were able to join us tonight, as well as those that are not able to join us, but they put in a lot of time throughout the year, meeting with us and also tackling on the additional 5 town halls. So if we could do a group photo, but I want you all to know that I appreciate each and every one of you, and it's been a true pleasure working with each of you this year. So I look forward to next year's council as well. So thank you all so much. Okay, we'll need maybe 2 lines, so.
Fred, where's your other paper?
You're right there.
I don't have 3. I don't have page 3.
Should be there.
I picked up these 2. And it was the...
Yeah, sorry. Congratulations, everyone. At this time, I'd like to invite Jennifer Rouse, Senior Director for Professional Development, to please come forward and recognize the members of the 2022 to 2024 USF Polk Master Cohorts.
Good evening, Dr. Ellen, Board Chair, Board members, and Superintendent Hyde. My name is Jennifer Rouse. I'm the Senior Director of Professional Development, and my colleague here with me tonight, Mr. John Hill, Director of Leadership. It is our pleasure to showcase our University of South Florida and Polk County Schools USF Masters Cohort graduates tonight. Developing great teachers and leaders is a priority, as you know, in our district. And so through a partnership with USF, the district offered 2 tuition-free master's cohort programs that began in the fall of 2022. Educators in the master's programs were selected through a rigorous application and selection process that included Polk County and USF staff. 15 educators were accepted into a Master of Education in Educational Leadership, and 15 were accepted in a Master of Arts in Reading, in a Reading Master's degree program. So the USF Polk Reading Academy was a cohort-style graduate program designed to prepare educators to become expert literacy teachers, instructional coaches, and leaders. It was through a customized partnership and delivered exclusively for educators in Polk County schools. The courses integrated the best literacy benchmarks and focused on the science of reading in the context of comprehensive, transdisciplinary literacy instruction. The USF Polk Educational Leadership Academy was also a cohort-style graduate program. It was customized as well and delivered exclusively for our educators in Polk County. They actually met religiously on Kathleen High School's campus on Saturdays for the last 2 years. And this helped prepare them for the state of Florida's Level 1 Educational Leadership Certification and for a future role as an assistant principal. During the second year of their master's coursework, the members of this cohort also participated in a modified district-provided Aspiring Leaders program. So once their certification is confirmed by the Florida Department of Education, they will have earned placement in our district assistant principal pool, and they will be eligible to apply for open positions. So after 2 years of coursework, we are proud to recognize our educators graduating with a Master of Educational Leadership or Master of Arts in Reading degree. We are thrilled to celebrate their success tonight and are excited about how they will continue to serve students and lead in our district. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Jennifer Schneider and Dr. William Black from USF to the podium to say a few words about our partnership and our master's cohorts.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Bill Black from USF. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here. One of the greatest accomplishments of my 17 years at USF have been in the last 11 and a half years, where we've been able to partner with Polk County Schools to prepare 139 educators to receive advanced degrees without owing a single penny. And I believe that's the testimony to the leadership of people like Cheryl Joe and Jennifer Rouse and John Hill, Mr. Hyde, and the school board over these many years. We've been able to get funds from Race to the Top, School of Hope, multiple federal funding streams to keep this partnership alive. That would not happen without trusting, collaborative relationships, and I'm very, very proud of this cohort in particular. I'm the professor of ed leadership. Dr. Schneider's our lead person in reading and literacy. But one quick anecdote is, I remember in March of 2020, the Friday before I was going to start class at Kathleen, the class was called off and we switched virtually online. This cohort represented the first Saturday when I walked up to Kathleen. It was an emotional moment as we were able to recapture the face-to-face partnership and cohort. So this cohort, not only do you have exceptional educators, but truly committed leaders for the schools who have earned a master's, and here's my little plug, from the 38th ranked public university in the United States by U.S. News and World Report. So it is my pleasure to be here.
Thank you for allowing us to be here and recognizing the students that were in the Masters of Reading cohort. And I want to say the teachers are exceptional. And we learn as much from them as they've learned from us. And they're going on to do great things in your schools. We were talking about it behind the scenes. They're already applying everything that they've learned, and they're working with their principals and making changes. So we just really want to thank you for your trust in USF. And please send us more, because we love Polk County teachers. They are amazing, and we're so very proud of everything they've done. So thank you.
So at this time, we'd like to recognize our reading master's graduates. And Mr. Hill is going to come up and announce them for us as they receive certificates.
Alexa Claybo, school-based reading coach, Eastside Elementary. Dwan Davis, English teacher, Real Academy. I didn't realize everyone was Johnson. All right. Now, Dwan Davis, English teacher, Real Academy. Danielle Doyle, IB coordinator, Jewett Middle Academy. Jennifer Glasgow, Literacy Curriculum Specialist, District Office. Emily Gully, Language Arts Teacher, Central Florida Aerospace Academy, Kathleen High School. Faith Halleck, school-based reading coach, Cumbie Academy of Design and Engineering. Jessica Barrera, third grade teacher, Winston Academy of Engineering. Cinnamon Paulso, gifted teacher, Blake Academy. Emily Stevens, school-based reading coach, Cleveland Court Elementary. Christina Thorwegian, reading teacher, Lake Alfred Polytech Academy. Bethany Williamson, school-based reading coach, Jesse Keene Elementary. And at this time, we would now like to recognize our Leadership Masters cohort.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Group photo.
Come on down.
I don't need to be in that. Thank you. Okay, now for our Masters of Educational Leadership cohort. First up is Larry Atchison, Dean at Caldwell Elementary. Okay, then we have Tanya Bowen, reading interventionist at East Side Elementary. Kylie Childress, science teacher at Bartow Middle School. Precious Ferguson, senior coordinator for the Division of Schools. Jeremy Henry Dixon, drama teacher at Davenport High School. Jordan Jones, dean at Lakeland High School. Aaron Lavelle, English teacher at Lakeland High School. Kristen Looper, fourth grade teacher at Willow Oak Elementary. Lillianette Munoz Perez, dean at Stambaugh Middle School. Melissa Rivera, math interventionist at Palmetto Elementary. Amy Rivero Cintron, migrant interventionist for the district office. And Kimberly Sampson, literacy strategies teacher at Bartow High School. Okay, now we'll get one big cohort picture. Yay! So I'd like to close by saying thank you, Superintendent Hyde and the board, for supporting this outstanding work and for leveraging district resources to build the capacity of future leaders and our literacy educators. So thank you so much.
Try to get back as quick as I could. It's an absolute pleasure to continue the legacy. I was most impressed by this program when I first arrived. I believe it was one of my first meetings where we recognized 2 cohorts. We have subsequently since expanded that now. And so it's an absolute pleasure to be here and again to continue with that legacy to develop stronger teachers and leaders, or at least provide opportunities for them to grow personally and professionally within the field. So we're very grateful to our USF partnership, and as someone who earned their bachelor's and their master's there, I'm thrilled that we work in close partnership with them. So I'd like to also invite Rob Davis, Assistant Superintendent for Support Services, to please come forward to recognize some members from his transportation department.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to come up and before you and introduce some some staff members that work at different locations that help fill in. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a nationwide bus driver shortage. It happened after COVID, and it's really kind of spread across the nation. So it's something that we've kind of been looking outside of the box, and we send out a survey yearly. That survey will be going out this week, again, to see if you may have any interest in driving a school bus for us, or possibly a van, because we have some needs where a van is better suited for students that we are transporting. So I know that Renard Thomas from Auburndale Central Elementary, who is a reading teacher, has worked with Area 1, Miss Ianthe. I know he was recognized last board meeting by the principal, but he's worked with Miss Ianthe doing early morning shuttles for Harrison School of the Arts, Auburndale Central Elementary School, and Stanball Elementary School, then pulling a full day of teaching, especially a reading teacher, and then going back out and doing it in the afternoon. Just, you can't say enough about a gentleman that has that type of drive. So we'd like to recognize Mr. Thomas again, and Ms. Ianthe, if you'd like to say any words.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I can't say thank you enough to Mr. Thomas, because he has been phenomenal. He has really helped me out in so many ways. And like Mr. Davis said, we have been so short, but he has stepped up to the plate more than one time just to help us out, because he said, don't worry about it. I got it, Miss I. So that gave me a little sigh of relief. But I just want to say thank you again for all you do on a day-to-day basis. And he doesn't grumble or complain. He just said, I'm going to try to help you out and make this day happen. So thank you.
Thank you. So next we have Michael Kahn. Did Michael make it? All right, Michael. So Michael, he's a Mulberry Middle School teacher, intensive math teacher, who has worked with Area 2, Miss Danina Dempsey, and he's driven routes morning and afternoon, as I understand it, for Mulberry Middle School. An intensive math teacher, and then going out and transporting students after teaching all day is pretty phenomenal. So Miss Danina, would you like to say anything?
Just want to say that Michael is a great asset to our team. He's very quiet, very reserved, but he shows up on the occasion all the time. He's a very, very, very good employee to have.
Michael, you have anything?
Okay, I would say thank you for this recognition. It means a lot to me, and I'm never tired. I'll continue to help my future leaders. Thank you so much.
Okay, Marcus Taylor, who is a guardian, works at Lake Ship Elementary, and works with our Area 3 manager, Mrs. Tamitha Nelson. I'm not sure if... He's not here. I'm sorry, I hate that. But he is a guardian. He fills in for Lake Ship when we are running short. I think he's doing it just about daily, is that correct? Yes, every day. And so we really wanted to make sure he was here and let him know how appreciative we are of his dedication to to transporting the students and the students of Lake Ship. Ms. Nelson, would you like to say anything?
Very well said, Mr. Davis.
Okay. Next, we have Valua Cooper from Denison Middle School. So she's a reading teacher as well at Denison Middle School. She did routes for us in the morning and afternoon at Denison, working a full day and then going and transporting students again. A reading teacher that's dedicating, and these are teachers and guardians that have a CDL. They're not driving a van, they're driving a full 40-foot school bus, deploying stop arms, and making things happen. So we really appreciate that. I know Pam Cumby from Lake Gibson Middle School was not able to be here today, nor was her area manager, but she did Lake Gibson Middle School, High School, and Pageant Elementary, both mornings and afternoons when possible. She is it says a VE teacher. I'm not sure if ESC. So she has done a great job for us. Angel Ortiz. Angel has worked with our Area 8 manager and our Area 8 router. Angel is one of our Hearth van drivers who takes is transporting McKinney-Vento students to their school of origin, and so he has been doing that for quite a bit of time, and we want to honor him for doing this, and really those students more than any need a stable environment, and you provided that, Angel, and we really appreciate that. I'd like to have opportunity for the area manager or the router to say.
Well, Teresa and I would like to tell Mr. Angel how much we appreciate him. One thing about Mr. Angel, he gets up 4 o'clock in the morning, he goes to Lake Wales, he goes to Lakeland, he goes everywhere. And one thing about him, he's always on time. And I appreciate everything that he does, because if Teresa can call him, as long as she gives him that address, he's going to find it. And I just want to personally say, Angel, Mr. Angel, I appreciate you. Thank you very much, young man.
Okay. Sarah Roberts, Winter Haven High School. So this, if I recall correctly, Ann Everett contacted me and said, "Hey, we've got a student that needs transportation. We're having a difficult time getting on a bus, but we have a teacher that's willing to transport the student to and from school because that's where she lives, right?" And so, so we worked with George Millar, who is our director of transportation operations, and we got Ms. Sarah Roberts to start driving a van for our ESOL and at-risk. She's an ESOL teacher and at-risk teacher, and she was transporting some of our students that were at high risk and spoke another English as another was not their first language. So, Ms. Sarah, would you like to say? George.
Good evening. I'd just like to say thank you to Dr. Roberts. She has done a phenomenal job. She's always dependent, always there, and she's done a great job and a great example. And we just hope we get more like her.
Thank you.
A picture? Yep. Most definitely. Okay, Kimley, if I mess his last name up, I'm sorry. Bodnard.
She wasn't able to make it.
Okay, I'm sorry. She was Southwest Middle School hearing impaired teacher who worked with our Area 3 manager, Ms. Nelson, and drove for Southwest Middle School. Hearing impaired programs are kind of scattered throughout the county. So this was a blessing to have someone that was able to dedicate a time in the van with our hearing impaired students. Moving on to some of our support services staff who are couriers, and they get up very early in the morning, go out and deliver mail all over the county, and then they're out there driving a school bus for us in the afternoon, and in many times during the day where we have to cover a courier route based on the needs that we have at that point in time. So Audra Elliott, a courier, she worked in all areas. She drove a school bus, and Miss Audra and Mr. Reeves is the direct supervisor. If they'd come up. She is extremely dependable, not only driving a bus for us, but also in any other aspect that we ask of her. So anything you'd like to say, Ms. Audra? Mr. Reeves?
Yes, sir. I just want to say that I'm very blessed to supervise three of the most wonderful people in this room. We all know about Superman. Mild-mannered reporter during the day, go in the phone booth, put on the uniform, and go out and save the world. That's what my three couriers do every day, and they've been doing this for the last 3 years during this bus driver shortage. During the day, starting in the dark, 5:30 in the morning, they're out delivering the mail. They're delivering the mail to your homes. In the afternoon, they come back, they park their vans, they put on their supermen and superwomen suits, and they go out and drive a bus until dark again. I can't say enough about these people. They just do an incredible job, and it's for the kids. It really is. It's not about the money. It's not about, vacation or anything like that. It is about the kids.
So why don't we ask Loretta Wilson and Noah Landers to come on up, because they are Wonder Woman and Superman and Superwoman and everything else in between. So we really appreciate everything you do, and we couldn't have done it without you, truly. So.
Thank you.
Okay, so that next year we want to have this list tripled. But I do want to talk about a situation that involved a bus driver and a bus attendant last month. Unfortunately, it was a tragic situation, but it gave us an opportunity to recognize how well our bus drivers and bus attendants deal with the students that they transport on a day-to-day basis. So on April 18th in the afternoon, Ms. Frazier was operating our school bus 1805. She was with Mrs. Annette Dempsey, the bus attendant, and they were transporting a route of magnet and an inclusion bus that was coming from the Bartow area to the Mulberry area. During the route, an unfortunate turn of events took place. A truck on Highway 37 in the southbound lane was stopped making a left-hand turn into a place of business, and a 2007 Freightliner semi hauling a 53-foot trailer heading south on State Road 37, for reasons unknown, failed to notice a stopped truck in his lane. He attempted an emergency brake. Unfortunately, that action caused the semi to lose control and drift into the northbound lane, making a head-on collision with the driver of a 2006 Kia Altima. Eventually, jackknifing and blocking both lanes of traffic, and all the southbound lane of traffic and the partial northbound lane of traffic. Meanwhile, traveling behind the Kia was Miss Frazier with 17 students and Miss Dempsey, And Ms. Frazier quickly evaded the destruction and avoided a collision by maneuvering the bus off the roadway into a grassy, I get choked up because I've seen this video. In split seconds. The bus came to a rest mere feet from where the Kia Altima came to a rest. And her first words were, "Kids, look at your phone. Kids, look at your feet. Don't look out the windows." She immediately used their emergency radio, which is a good thing because she used the orange button, which goes directly to our dispatch 911 in the sheriff's department. The dispatch responded right away, was able to identify that location of the bus, where the accident was, so that they could send first responders as quickly as possible to render aid. Ms. Dempsey immediately began to attend to the students on board the bus, checking on their well-being of the children and ensuring every student was safe and secure. She did this. She also did everything in her power to ensure that the children diverted their eyes away from the tragedy that had unfolded before them. Ms. Dempsey's unwavering dedication to the students played an integral part in keeping the students physically and mentally out of harm. While Ms. Frazier was telling the students to look down, look at their phone, look at their feet, was simultaneously talking with the 911 dispatcher, asking questions, but informed her that she still had 17 students on her bus, and she was mere feet away from the accident. That was, to be honest, a horrific scene, which sped up the process and allowed her to get out of that location as quickly as possible so that the students didn't have to see that incident. Unfortunately, the person did pass away. But Ms. Frazier's and Ms. Dempsey's actions and teamwork helped 17 children make it home to their families safe. Their calm demeanor of Ms. Frazier and Ms. Dempsey, while under great distress, are prime examples of what should happen if we find ourselves in situations such as these. Thank you is not enough to say, but thank you, Ms. Frazier, and thank you, Ms. Dempsey, for all you did that day. Later in the week, Mr. Hyde received an email from a parent that had 3 students that rode that bus. Not only was she a parent, she was also a teacher at Mulberry Middle School. She said, "I'm hoping to get this email to the right person. Miss Rosie drives bus 1805. It runs the Magnet Run in Bartow, Mulberry area. Last Thursday, there was a terrible wreck on Highway 37 south of Mulberry. You may have heard about it. It sadly ended in a fatality of a parent of one of the middle school students, Mulberry Middle School students. All 3 of my children ride bus 1805. When the details of the crash finally settled, we realized that Miss Rosie literally saved the lives of students on the bus that day. When the semi jackknifed into the oncoming traffic and hit the car directly in front of her, if that vehicle had been 3 seconds later, it would have slammed into the side of the bus of 1805. Miss Rosie was vigilant and saw the situation unfolding. She was able to quickly and miraculously miss the crash. She had to slam on the brakes. My children said everyone's belongings went flying to the front, and she drove into the ditch. Her bus came to a stop right beside the crash. My oldest daughter is 14 and sits directly behind the bus driver. She could see the wreckage outside of the bus window. Miss Rosie and her attendant made sure to tell the students not to look out the window. Keep in mind, this bus also services many students with special needs, as students from Gino Dale also ride the bus. After stopping for the crash, she called 911 to report the crash, and within a few minutes later, she was able to finish her route, dropping all passengers off safely, and to return to work the next day. I feel like Miss Rosie and her bus attendant need to be recognized for their heroic efforts. I thank God every day that my children and the other souls on the bus made it home that day. So with that, I'd like to ask Miss Rosie to come up and be recognized. Ms. Dempsey was unfortunately not able to attend this evening, but we have spoken to her and told her how much we appreciate all of her efforts to keep the students on the bus cool and collective during that situation. When meeting with Miss Frazier after the accident the next day, she's steady as a rock. She was steady as could be. I know that it was a terrifying incident, but she did everything that anyone could have done to prevent colliding into that semi. So with that, we can take a photo and. Thank you, board members and Mr. Hyde, for allowing us to recognize everyone that we did today, and I apologize for getting upset.
No, I don't apologize.
Can we get a group photo with all the bus drivers and attendants that are here and managers? That's all.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, that concludes special recognitions for this evening. However, I'm going to ask for permission to return back to administrative announcements. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce Mr. Damian Jones, who's being promoted. He was previously the assistant principal at Denison Middle School. He's now being promoted to acting principal at Denison Middle, and he is here with us this evening. So, Mr. Jones, take your time. It's okay.
Hello to everyone. I'm sorry, should I wait? Should I wait? Sorry.
That'll be fine.
All right, I'm sorry. I don't want to delay anyone. So, giving respect to everyone here on the board, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. Very special thank you to Dr. Hyde, who I met for the first time back in August when I was returning here from DeSoto County. I will never forget the conversation that we had. He welcomed me back home, as I've been in Polk County since 2002. But I stepped away for a couple years to get some valuable experience down in DeSoto County, and he graciously welcomed me back here. Now, as principal at Denison Middle School, just real quickly, I just want to say that it's really a surreal experience for me as I watched my grandmother and my aunts. They served as custodians here in Polk County for about 30 or so years. And I can remember as a little kid running around over in Haines City High School pretending to help them clean up at night. You couldn't pay me to think that I would be here right now. It's really a surreal experience to be standing here today. Also, want to acknowledge a couple of folks that are here with me. One of my best friends since Winter Haven High School days, class of '94, Leo Goodrum is here. He's currently a teacher over in Lake Alfred, and he's been with me since 1994, and his grandfather actually was an assistant principal at Denison Middle School many years ago, and now Leo is a teacher at Discovery High School. So I want to thank him for coming tonight. And also, a lot of times when, we get into our careers, we never get the opportunity to thank the folks that are most important. I see my wife, she was able to come here tonight, Shanice. I really want to thank you for being here. She continues to remind me each and every day what family means and what family is all about. And a lot of times I don't get a chance to thank her for the numerous sacrifices of time that it takes being away and serving in these positions. So I want to say thank you. Through it all, you still have been here, and you really are appreciated. And also, everyone else who's contributed to me being here. So I want to say thank you again, Dr. Hyde, for allowing me the opportunity to come back home, and hopefully I'll do a great job and serve our community well. Thank you.
Doctor yet, but thank you very much for the recognition.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, almost. Thank you.
Could your family please come down and join you? Thank you very much. Congratulations. Welcome back. Mr. Chair, I turn it back over to you, sir.
All right, thank you, Superintendent Hyde. All right, board members, we're going to move down to our public comment section. And before we begin, I'd just like to welcome the public and go over our public comment process and opportunities for this evening. As you know, there's 3 opportunities to speak before the board this evening. The first will be for items on this evening's agenda to be voted upon. And then, as always, during the time, comments will be limited to those items on the agenda. And then the second will be during the public hearing on those topics that we'll be addressing tonight within public hearing. And lastly, at the end of the evening, we'll have additional time for public comment on items that are not on our agenda. And we do not have any comment cards for items on the agenda. We do have items within our public hearing, so those comments will come to us here shortly. So, board members, we're going to now move to the approval of the minutes. So we have 2 sets of minutes to approve. The first set of minutes is from the April 23rd, 2024 school board meeting, and the chair will entertain a motion to accept the April 23rd, 2024 school board meeting minutes as written. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
All right, so Ms. Wyatt made the motion and Ms. Fields seconded it. Is there any discussion on those? Seeing none, I would like to call for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? And the motion carries. Superintendent, if you need to pipe in and vote with us as well, just let us know.
I took that liberty earlier.
The second set of minutes is for the April 23rd, 2024 work session meeting, and the chair will entertain a motion now to accept those minutes as written. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Ms. Wyatt made the motion, and Ms. Fields made the second. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, I would like to call for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? And that motion carries. Now we're going to move down to today's consent agenda, and the chair will now entertain a motion to accept the May 14th, 2024 consent agenda as printed. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Ms. Cunningham made the motion, and Ms. Wyatt seconded. Any discussion on these items within our consent agenda? All right, I'll now call for a vote on that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? And that motion carries. Next, we come to our action agenda for this evening, and we have 8 items that's coming before you. And our first item on the agenda is P1, the Lakeland Montessori Schoolhouse and Lakeland Montessori Middle School consolidation. So the recommended action is to approve Lakeland Montessori Schoolhouse and Lakeland Montessori Middle consolidation under one MSID number. And the governing board of directors for Lakeland Montessori has approved this plan. And then that formal notice of minutes, it's attached in that item. This item came before us in April's work session. Do I have a motion and a second on this one?
Second.
All right, Ms. Fields made the motion and Ms. Wyatt seconded. Any discussion on this particular item? Seeing none, I'd like to call for a vote on this one. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Next, we have the charter contract renewal, and this is for Polk State College, Chain of Lakes Collegiate High School. This is a 15-year term with no substantive changes. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Mr. Sharpless made the motion and Ms. Wyatt seconded. Any discussion on this item? I would like to call for a vote at this point. The motion on the floor is to approve the charter contract renewal. And those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? And that motion carries. Next is P3. We have the charter contract renewal for Ridgeview Global Studies Academy. This also is a 15-year term with no substantive changes. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second. Great. Ms. Cunningham made the motion and Mr. Sharpless seconded. Any discussion on this item? I'll now call for a vote. The motion on the floor is there, and those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Next, we have a recommendation from Travis Technical College, SAC, for Dr. Ken James. And Travis SAC is recommending Dr. Ken James to be recognized as Director Emeriti. This came before us, and we discussed it as well with some procedural changes that are coming before us. So do we have a motion and a second on this item?
Second.
All right. Ms. Fields made the motion. Mr. Sharpless seconded. Any discussion on this item? I mean, I'm excited for this one. This is a great change and an addition. And if you have a chance to read a bit on Mr. James, Dr. James. All right, Ms. Fields, you were recognized.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge Dr. James' presence today and to thank him for the rich history that he has provided in our county, especially in his work. And he continues to be supportive and very much still involved in the community. And so I'm happy that we're able to honor him and look forward to the continued relationship that we have with him in our county. So congratulations, Dr. James.
Did you say
And his beautiful wife.
Is he in audience with us?
Yes, he's right there, Dr.
All right,
James.
very good. So glad you're here. If you could stand up and be recognized this evening. All right, board members, we have a motion and a second on the floor. I'd like to now call for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Those opposed? And that motion carries unanimously. Dr. James, congratulations. And do we have our photographer in-house? Yeah. Miss Jessica, I know you're in the back there. If there's an opportunity for us to get a photo of Dr. James this evening, it would be great. Dr. James, thank you for your service. All right, maybe we'll see him as he comes in a bit, and we'll transition to that. We're going to keep moving down through the agenda, board members. We now come to our half-cent sales tax oversight committee appointment. Do we have a motion and a second on this item?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Ms. Cunningham made the motion, and Mr. Nolte seconded it. Ms. Cunningham, would you like to read her bio into record on this item?
I would.
Thank you.
Am I on? Not on. Thank you. I'm nominating Ms. Lana Stripling to serve on the half-cent sales tax committee representing District 2 in the northeast part of the county. And let me tell you a little bit about her. She's an awesome lady. Lana Stripling is a proud native of Polk County, having called it home for over 50 years. A graduate of Haines City High School, she has deep roots in the community and a profound understanding of its needs and aspirations. Lana is devoted to her family, happily married with 3 children and 3 grandchildren. Her commitment to family values extends beyond her home as she serves as our executive director of the Northeast Polk Chamber of Commerce since November of 2018. In her role, Lana is a tireless advocate for the communities that she serves, passionately promoting their strengths and opportunities for both residents and business owners. She believes in the potential of the area and works diligently to showcase its advantages, fostering growth and prosperity. One of Lana's core missions is to encourage local students to pursue higher education and career opportunities within their own community. She firmly believes in the talent and potential of the youth in Polk County and advocates for initiatives that support their educational and professional endeavors locally. Knowing Ms. Stripling as long as I have, I think she's going to make a wonderful liaison to our half-cent sales tax committee and understands the needs to be a part of that and to be able to advocate, work with her chamber board of directors, and continue to spread the word as we may need to go for different referendums and stuff for sales tax. I think she's going to be a great advocate. So it is my honor and pleasure to submit Ms. Stripling for your consideration. And I'd like to make a motion to approve Ms. Stripling.
Ms. Cunningham, thank you so much. So we have a motion on the floor and a second. At this time, I would like to call for a vote on this item. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? And that motion carries. Next, we have another half-cent sales tax oversight committee appointment. Do we have a motion and a second on this item P6?
I so move.
All right, so Mr. Sharpless made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
And Ms. Cunningham seconded that. So Mr. Sharpless, would you like to read his bio into record?
Sure. Thank you. Yes, so I have two appointments to the half-cent sales tax oversight committee tonight. The first one is Nicole McDowell. She is the Frostproof city manager. She has been employed with the city of Frostproof since 2015. She is married to Rod McDowell, who is a fifth-generation Floridian. They have one daughter, Elizabeth, who is 12 years old and attends Frostproof Middle Senior High School. Nicole currently serves on the Citizens Bank Citizens Advisory Board and previously served on the Frostproof Care Center Board. Nicole is a graduate of Leadership Polk Class 11 and Inside PCPS Class 1.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sharpless. So we have a motion and a second on the floor, and now I'd like to call for a vote on this item. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? And that motion carries. Next, we have one last half-cent sales tax oversight committee appointment. And do we have a motion on this item and a second?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Sharpless made the motion and Ms. Wyatt seconded. Mr. Sharpless, you are recognized and have the floor.
Thank you. My second appointment to the half-cent sales tax oversight committee is for Dr. Andy Oguntola. He's a visionary leader with over 16 years of experience dedicated to fostering meaningful relationships and enhancing the educational experience for students. As a seasoned professional, Andy possesses versatile leadership abilities coupled with a detailed-oriented approach, enabling him to navigate complex challenges and deliver impactful results. Currently, he's serving as the Associate Vice President of Student Services at Polk State College in Winter Haven, Florida. Andy provides strategic oversight for a myriad of campus-based advising services and district-wide initiatives. His role extends to supervising recruitment efforts, ensuring student success through comprehensive support programs, and maintaining the college's strategic enrollment management plan. Prior to his current position, Andy held the role of Dean of Workforce Education and Economic Development at Polk State College, where he provided leadership for various technical programs and supported faculty initiatives to enhance learning outcomes. His responsibilities also included maintaining compliance with educational regulations and fostering communications between academic departments and student services. And I could say so much more about Dr. Andy Oguntola, but I would also like to say that he was a graduate of Inside PCPS Class 2. So tonight, Inside PCPS has had two graduates that have been nominated to the half-cent sales tax oversight committee.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Sharpless. So we have a motion and a second. Now I'd like to call for a vote on this item. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Next is P8, and this one's entitled Staff and District Updates. This is coming back to us this evening on a back-to-back. We work sessioned on it earlier today. And as discussed, this item unfunds the PEF director position and then funds and upgrades the position to the senior director. So do I have a motion and a second on this item?
So moved.
All right, Ms. Wyatt made the motion. Looking for a second?
Second.
All right, and Mr. Sharpless seconded. Any discussion on this item, board members? All right, I would like to call for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. All right, I just want to pause for a minute. Our photographer has departed, so I just wanted to, again, draw attention to Dr. James and the work that he's done at Travis, and we'll make sure that we get an opportunity to honor you in some way, and I appreciate that appointment. What's up? Do you want to say something? All right.
Can we have him at least come up and have comments, please?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ms. Fields. The floor is up to you if you would like to come share a few words of your time with us. What's up?
Certainly, I would express thanks to the board, school board here, and certainly to Ms. Lori Cunningham and Ms. Kay Fields, who I had the opportunity to work under for the entire tenure that I was working in the school board, and also Attorney Bridges. I'm sure that he remembers me well. We did have a lot of good times, and what I would say would be certainly expressed appreciation to Mr. Hyde, to Deputy Superintendent Green, and certainly to Chief of High Schools, Ms. Tracy Collins, as well as David Wiggs, who is the director now at Travis Technical College. I'd like to stand and just say that we did well. For 8 of the 9 years that I was at Travis, we received some type of national recognition. For 9 years that I was there, we received some state recognition. We boast somewhat of a 100% pass rate on most of our health programs, with the exception of 1 year out of the 9. And we consistently place first, second, or third in a national competition at skill, what we call USA Skills, which included all of the states in the United States as well as 9 countries. And each year we were able to garner at least the first place, and in many cases a second or third. So we were really proud of that, because our staff bought into the idea that we were striving to become world class. So we are very proud of Travis, and certainly also for our sister school, Ridge. And as I would close tonight, I would simply say, as I shared with Mr. Hyde when we were initially talking, my grandmother, who lived to be 109 years of age, always told me not to brag or boast, but she did say it's a poor frog that won't praise his own pond. So we're here tonight to kind of praise our pond, and we certainly appreciate you allowing me to do that. Thank you.
Y'all want to go down? Yes.
We got all these young people in here. Somebody could take a picture. Good Lord. Oh, I didn't see you, Yvette. I'm sorry.
Does Dr. James, you have a guest in the audience that you want to be in your picture as well? Thank you, board members. All right, board members, next we're going to now go into our public hearing. I now open the public hearing. The first order of business would be any comments on public hearing agenda items, and we have 2 cards. So now we'll begin with the public comments portion of the public hearing for those who have registered. And just as before, all speakers will be given 3 minutes to speak. The light will then turn yellow when you have 1 minute left, and you'll hear a beep when your time is concluded. All comments should be directed to myself as the board chair. As a reminder, public comments are an opportunity for us to hear your thoughts and comments. This is not a Q&A session. However, if you are seeking additional information, I encourage you to contact any of us or the superintendent's office outside of board meetings, and we would be happy to have those deeper conversations with you. So the first person to come up and speak would be Glenda White. And then Jim Taggett would be on deck, and you can stand at the red line, Mr. Taggett, as Glenda comes up.
Good evening. I'm Glenda White, a Winter Haven resident. I reviewed the policies covered for this public hearing and found a few that need attention. I have several security concerns which policy doesn't cover. Last week, an 11-year-old girl was abducted and raped by an illegal alien in Florida. I've seen many accounts of kidnapping, gang rapes, and violence in schools. If a child is harmed in school and Polk County fails to provide effective security policy, they can be held legally liable, and rightly so. The disclosure of security policy and crime statistics, the Clery Act policy, provides stats on crimes that have occurred at a school over the last year. Why does the number of current criminals and illegals in the school not appear on this report? These are a serious security concern for parents or students who are considering or already enrolled in a school. This information should be present on annual reports. The school nutrition program is another safety concern, namely the background check policy. I'm concerned that illegals are not addressed in this policy. Illegal border crossers aren't vetted or screened for health problems. If ID and health cannot be verified, a proper background screen can't be done. Please address this in the policy before approving. Homeless students. Annual evaluations are not enough. Children of illegals are particularly vulnerable in homeless situations. It's common knowledge that thousands of minors enter the U.S. with people other than their parents and disappear. Now, over 85,000. Children in these circumstances can be easily trafficked, forced to work as slaves, etc., and are difficult to track since they're transient. Teachers and school personnel are the closest relationships to homeless kids beyond caretakers. This policy should require a more regular wellness check for these kids. The exceptional student education policy addresses adults up to age 22 identified as ESE learners, including ESOL kids or young adults. This needs clarification. Only adults who were enrolled in Polk schools when they turned 18 should be allowed to participate. All others should be referred to adult services. Kids attending school with adults is a safety issue for the kids. Finally, I strongly object to language that appears in the following policies: selection and adoption of instructional materials and equipment, dress and grooming, and instructional materials program. Each of these policies contains woke language, namely the changing of he, she, or his, her to them, they, or their. Polk school policy should not include political language. Remove woke language and use correct pronouns and grammatically correct language. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenda. And Ms. Taggett? Mr. Taggett?
Yeah, my name is Jim Taggett. I'm a Polk County resident and taxpayer. And I'm here also to address a couple different items. On PO 8500, dealing with school nutrition, it talks about a level 2 background check starting January 1st in 25. Level 2 background check for all workers. Now that's the level 2 background check is a fingerprint search on Florida national databases. It's required by Florida law, and it's especially important with somebody dealing with children or elderly. But the problem is, okay, we should add a citizenship requirement to that too, because as Glenda mentioned, okay, we have a lot of illegals coming across the southern border. Okay, their first action is illegal by sneaking in, but we have no way of vetting them back in the country they came from. You know, nationwide fingerprint check is not going to show up. So, in view of safety for the children, we need to add that citizenship requirement. And also, and then in the crime statistics, This is PO 2450, okay? I would say the number one duty of the school board is to protect the children, okay? And the school board needs to be more upfront in reporting crimes and number of violent felons that are still attending school in Polk County schools. As Glenda mentioned, some of the crimes, rapes and so forth are taking place, okay? And I'm fully aware that a minor would have his record sealed because of youthful offender status, but parents also have the right to know this if there's any convicted felons attending their child's school. Like I said, the number one duty of the school board is the safety of the children. And also, there's talk of teaching students, immigrant students, in their native language. Okay, I don't know how many different classes there's a lot of languages involved. I don't know how many different classes you're going to have. I would suggest you just immerse the children in an English-only class. They're children. They'll adapt very quickly. They'll learn English quickly and carry on from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taggett. All right, so the first item is Q1, which is our public hearing for policy updates. And board members, this block of policy updates came before this board on March 19th special work session. I want to publicly thank the team from Neola that spent the time with us that day helping us work through this full slew of policy updates that's before you this evening. We are not taking any action on this item tonight. However, per our procedural change, I would like to open the floor for you to offer any amendments or changes to the following policies at this point. And I'll stand by for a moment here. I see no comments from you or feedback. Ms. Fields, you're recognized.
Thank you. I would just like to thank the staff for the hard work. This is a lot of work for them to put in to make sure that we have policies in place. And understanding that as a board, that's our main role, is to set and approve policy. So I just want to say hats off to the staff and thank them for making sure that we are in compliance and doing what we're supposed to be doing as a board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fields. All right, no other comments there. We will now move down to Q2, entitled Student Code of Conduct. The change sheet came before us in April, and the recommended action is to approve the 2024-25 Student Code of Conduct. This item comes with that nominal cost for printing in multiple languages. And do I have a motion and a second on this one?
So moved.
All right, Ms. Cunningham made the motion, and Ms. Fields seconded. Any discussion on Q2? Seeing none, I'd like to call for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? And that motion carries. At this time, I'll close the public hearing on May 14th. And the next item on our agenda is our superintendent's report. Superintendent Hyde, do you have a report for us tonight?
I do. The next work session and board meeting will be held on June 11th, 2024. The work session will begin at 12:30 p.m., and the board meeting will proceed and beginning at 5 p.m. The meeting will be held at the district office located at 1915 South Floral Avenue in Bartow. That concludes the superintendent's report, sir.
Great, thank you, Superintendent. Next, we'll move to our attorney's report. Mr. Bridges, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There was an oversight at the last board meeting. The list of policies that I read into the record was incomplete. There were additional policies that had been previously presented to the school board for first reading that should have been included in the notice. They were presented to the school board. They were included in the advertisement. But in the interest of transparency, I would like to read those into the record because they will be considered at that public hearing. And that is 2210, curriculum development, 2417, comprehensive health education, 2522, challenges to adoption or use of instructional library or reading list materials, 5420, reporting student progress, 5465, general education development tests, GED, 5780, student parent rights, and 8510 Wellness. Once again, those had been previously presented to the school board. They were included in the notice. They were simply not mentioned during the last board meeting, and I wanted to get those into the record.
All right, very good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bridges. Our next item is the auditor's report. We do not have a report this evening. And now we'll move to the part in the evening where you get to share some thoughts. So I'm going to start in numerical order. So that would be you, Ms. Cunningham. You are recognized.
Thank you so much, Dr. Allen. I first want to say thank you to Mr. Danny Sharpless and the Roosevelt Academy's East Street Barbecue team for providing a fabulous lunch for all of us today. We had ribs, we had chicken, baked beans, mac and cheese. It was all so beautiful, so wonderfully prepared, absolutely delicious. It's not a wonder all those teams are winning competitions. It was great. And for dessert, I want to give kudos to Dreamy Treats and Sweets, LLC, who provided a myriad of delicious cupcakes for us to enjoy. So thank you to those folks for taking the time to make that for us. It was a very special treat for us to have today. Additionally, we're at the season time of graduations. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, congratulations to the class of 2024. We are so very proud of you and this incredible milestone that you have reached in your life. The only way you can go from here is up. And my saying is always, onward and upward you go. So continue to reach for the stars and do those things that make you passionate about life. Because when you go to work every day and you love what you do, it is not a job. It is a lifelong passion. And I wish that for each of our graduates. So congratulations and best wishes from us. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham. Mr. Nolte, you are recognized.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. I attended the Volunteer Year of Awards ceremony here in Bartow, presented by the Mid-Florida School Board, and it was really awesome to see all those volunteers and all the great things they do. I also attended the commencement exercises for the Exceptional Students Education from Doris Sanders, Jean Odell, and Karen Siegel. It's just unbelievable. If you've never been to that graduation, you need to go, because I've never seen so many smiling, happy faces, and you teachers that teach there, in fact, teachers in general, because I was one for a long time. You guys doing a great job, and I know you've earned yourself a good break this summer, and I hope you have a great, safe one. I also attended I was on a Zoom meeting with the Central Florida Public School Board Coalition, because I was always, I wasn't sure about why we were always ranked at the bottom or close to the bottom as far as getting money from the state. And it was explained to me that this was a formula that was put together back in like 1999. And every time we try to get it redone, evaluated, so we can get some more money to Polk County, so we can spread it out for all you great teachers and paras and everybody out there, it gets tabled. So if you know anybody up there in Tallahassee, we've really got to get together on this and tell them that they need to look at that formula and they need to update it. It's silly to use a formula from 1999, and here we're 63rd or 64th, and like Orange County next door is a big county. They're like 50th. So it's pathetic, and I feel that we need to definitely put some pressure on those people up in Tallahassee. Let's see, what else? It's National Law Enforcement Week, so thank you, Blue. I just, like you said about the class of 2024, it's onward and upward, and congratulations to all them. Congratulations to you teachers that got them all the way up there, and I hope and pray that you have a great summer and be safe, and you earned yourself a good break, And God bless. That concludes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nolte. Ms. Wyatt, you're recognized.
Thank you. This is my favorite time of the year because there's so many fun celebrations and great events to attend. So I'm only going to mention the ones that haven't been mentioned so far. So first, I want to give a huge shout out to Superintendent Hyde and Dr. Allen for representing us at State of the County. If you have not been to that presentation before, it really is an incredible event that Polk Vision puts on. I believe there is a link online that you can go back and watch their presentation, just looking at all of the cool things happening in our district and then also in the county as a whole. So great job, team. I then got to judge 3DE's business competition for their 10th graders at Tenor Rock, and it just made me even more excited that that is coming to Lake Region. I had one of the students pull me aside afterwards and say, thank you so much for approving this program at my school. I am a year behind. She had failed a grade and was, hoping to graduate early to be able to get back on track. She said, you can ask my teachers, I am a different student today, this year, than I was last year. Last year, I don't think any of them had any hope for me just because I was a bad kid and I did not do the things I was supposed to be doing, and this program changed my life. So it was a testament, I think, to some of the programs at our schools, and I'm so excited for that to go to Lake Region. So if you haven't been out to judge one of their programs, I highly encourage you to do it because it's about an hour of your day, but it's exciting to see all that they're doing. I also want to highlight, we had the May 1st, they did the Summit for Behavioral Health that Polk Vision put on. It was mind-boggling, to say the least. It was very much focused on children and technology. A great presentation from Dr. Stroman, just some helpful tips of navigating the digital age with kids. But Grady Judd's presentation on AI and all that AI is doing to in our children. They actually have an AI task force now at the Sheriff's Department that was started this past April because they have their first AI case was just hit the books in Polk County. So it is a little terrifying, but very interesting information. And then Superintendent Hyde also presented, he got to follow Grady, which is always really fun to watch, but he had some good singers. He made the people laugh. So it was a great presentation and really looking at some of the things that our students are up against. And then last, but certainly not least, last night I got to help graduate Youth Leadership Winter Haven Class 2. And this is a group of students from all of our Winter Haven high schools. They're 10th and 11th graders, and they spend the day going through spend the year going through different industries, learning about different opportunities so that they can hopefully bring their talents right back here to Polk County. And it's really exciting just to hear their perspective on, they draw maps at the beginning of the year, what they think Winter Haven should look like in 2030. And their maps at the end of the year look very different. They were all very concerned, the beginning of the year, we need Targets and we need all sorts of, the big box stores. And by the end of the year, it's, well, maybe we need somewhere for social services and maybe we need more sources of water. And how do we look at solar panels? And so it was really cool just to see how their perception changed. And I know I said that was the last one, but I have one more thing. I apologize. So Leadership Polk graduation was last week. I know she is not here this evening because she's presenting at Lake Gibson Senior Awards, but our colleague Lisa Miller graduated from Leadership Polk. So we are very proud of her. But even more special at that ceremony is I think for the first time ever, they recognized their bus driver. So Crystal, who is in our transportation department, has been assisting in driving the bus for our leadership programs this year. And they all gave her a standing ovation. And I think have hard-pressed Mr. Hyde to never let her leave Polk County Public Schools because she really is a gem. So I just want to give a shout out to Crystal because she has been a great advocate for Polk County Public Schools and really shares that with everyone in the community she comes in contact with. So a huge shout out to her. And that concludes my report.
Wow. Thank you, Ms. Wyatt. And Ms. Fields, you are recognized.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. I want to thank Superintendent Hyde for allowing us to see things behind the scene and being able to see the transportation department come today. To me, that is awesome, to see the people that are actually in the trenches doing the work. And the story of the driver saving those students was just so compelling. and we really need to continue to praise our pond. I thought it was cute that Dr. James said that one. I said that not long ago. It's a poor frog who doesn't praise his own pond. So we're praising our pond, and we need to continue to do that. I had a chance to go to Lincoln Academy for their annual kindergartners forum. It was cute, it was fun, it was hot, and the kids had a great time. And so did we, those that were able to attend. Lisa Miller and I were there. I don't know, somebody else might have been there, but she was the other one that I knew that was there for that annual event. And I got a chance to go to Harrison's Senior Showcase, and that was very inspiring, and seeing the seniors create their own end of their time at Harrison, and just a great opportunity to see all the talent that they've been able to gain while being a student at Harrison. And then a couple of us was at the Lakeland Mayor Breakfast, Dr. Allen and Superintendent Hyde and his wife, and might have been some others there, but I just remember seeing the two of you all there, and that was a great morning for us. And then the Volunteer of the Year Breakfast, Mr. Nolte mentioned that. That was nice to be able to see all the volunteers working in our district. And then what I really enjoyed partaking in was the flight to honor at the airport, and being able to see all of the men and women that have served our country and coming back and being welcome. It was a great opportunity just to thank them for their service to our community and to our country. And then we had the Delta's gym, some of the high school volunteer girls, young ladies rather, and they were able to come and to volunteer, and that was under the direction of Miss Jeanette Crowley, so we want to thank her for that. And then lastly, I had a chance to attend the Save Our Children campaign 10th year anniversary. This is to the Paul A. Dix Neighborhood Association in Lakeland. And it was an honor to be asked to be the guest speaker there. And it was an honor to be able to witness the great work that they are doing in our community, and being able to see some of the young people on showcase as well. And then lastly, I want to make sure that I thank Superintendent Hyde again for continuing the work of the master's cohorts, because that was started before you came, and you've been able to continue to see that. And so I want to thank you for seeing the long-term impact and the good of that, and thank you for allowing the Barbecue Association to come before us, because that was before you as well. And it was interesting when Mr. Griffith mentioned the former Superintendent Jackie Bird and her husband, because I remember when that discussion first came about. So the history and the great works continue, and that's what we're going to continue to do, hopefully. And that ends my report.
Ms. Fields, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sharpless, Vice Chair, you're recognized.
Thank you. Please be patient with me today. Battling a little bit of a cold. I first want to start off by saying that when you go almost last in the order, a lot of people say the things that you wanted to say already. So I'm going to be repeating a few things. I went to a lot of inspirational events this past few weeks. The first one, I want to reiterate the Volunteer of the Year Awards Banquet. I want to thank all of our volunteers that put countless hours into our school, unpaid hours. One quote that the speaker said that I found amusing, and I wanted to share it with you all, was that Noah's Ark was built by volunteers, but the Titanic was built by professionals. So thank you to all of our volunteers. Also, on my birthday, I got to attend the Flight to Honor celebration as well. The interesting thing about that was that most of the people that were on that, most of the veterans that were on that flight were Vietnam veterans that never really received a proper welcome home. So it was really, to see some of the ladies and gentlemen, the emotions on their face, that they finally got welcomed home, truly, it pierced my heart, and it really, it's hard to put into words the emotions that go through your head when you're doing that. But it was an honor to be there to honor them. Another event that truly was inspirational was the Hearth graduating senior luncheon that I attended. The struggles and the the adversity that those students have went through in Hearth. I mean, the stories you hear, it's tremendous. And I really appreciate Superintendent Hyde getting up there, and me and a couple other board members were there, and he first drew a number out of a raffle for a free laptop. But then he said, I talked to some of the board members, and we're actually going to give you all a free laptop. So every student that graduated from that Hearth program got a laptop. And it's something that, I mean, if you just saw the smiles on their faces and how appreciative they were for everything, it was really nice. Also, I got to attend the Polk County FFA Federation Banquet. This is FFA chapters from all over Polk County. We're there to celebrate student success. And, you know, every time I'm around those FFA members in their blue corduroy jackets, I get inspired. You know, they're doing something right, and they are the citizenship and the leadership they learn in the FFA is something that is truly inspiring. The last thing I'll talk about is graduation season, of course. And I got to attend my favorite graduations, the second year in a row I got to attend it, the Center School's graduation. I've got to visit a few of our center schools already this year, Gene Odell, Karen Siegel, and to see the work they do there, and then to see that come to fruition at their graduation is truly inspirational. While we're on, so that was a great memory, right? It's a great thing, that experience that I got to do. However, we're going to be having a graduation next week that's going to be one of the toughest I've ever been in, and that's Bartow High School's graduation, because we're going to have an empty seat there because someone recklessly hit and killed one of our students. And so I'm tired of reading text messages from Superintendent Hyde saying that one of our students, or a news story or whatever, that one of our students is injured in a pedestrian accident. So I'm angry, I'm sad. There's many emotions that go through my mind, but I want to just beg you right now, the public that's listening, please, please, please pay attention while you are in our school zones. Please, students, pay attention while you're walking to and from school. Please, it's really, really, it's hard to put it into words. I do appreciate the fact that we're going to have stop arm cameras on our buses next year, and hopefully ticketing some people that think it's okay to pass our school buses will curb that behavior and make things more safe for our students. So I'm looking forward to some great graduations. Also, it's going to be a very, I don't know how to explain it, just mixed emotions on Bartow High School's graduation. So anyhow, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharpless. Just to keeping with tradition, I would like to really honor an individual that's achieved their dissertation and is a doctor serving in our classrooms. And again, I like to say that we have the privilege of serving the most educated workforce in the nation. So this individual is Dr. Carrie McKay, who is a teacher at Garden Grove Elementary. And the dissertation title is a framework for developing diverse family engagement practices. It was a multiple case study, and Dr. McKay's dissertation was basically a qualitative multi-case study that sought to understand and describe current family engagement practices from the perspective of program administrators, practitioners, and family members with strong implications for policy and procedural enhancements. Dr. McKay at Garden Grove Elementary, serving our third grade students, I want to say thank you for bringing your educational experiences to our classroom. I would like to highlight just a couple things as well. Majority of these things were already noted, but our list at this point in the year is just never ending. But just a few that I attended was really demonstrating Polk's educational work, truly what I think is a gateway to hope. So first of all, Polk County Public Schools' success garnered overwhelming applause on several occasions at Polk Vision's State of the County address. And as you noted, Ms. Wyatt, so Jason Geary, thank you for your work on that presentation. Several students were honored at the Silver Garland for, creatively serving in such a high capacity, really serving others more than themselves. And we hear service things happening all the time, but the creative ingenuity of our students is really what appealed to me during the Silver Garlands Awards banquet. The Volunteer of the Year Award breakfast was an incredible time. That's the exact quote that I had that I wanted to note, but you already stole it. But I will hold on to that one forever, for sure. I just want to say thanks to Ms. Crowley for the work that she did around that event. Keynote speaker was phenomenal. We also had some performers from, I think it was Gauze Elementary, that came in and performed that morning as well. And then lastly, Superintendent Hyde was the keynote speaker at the sophomore Summerlin Military Academy dinner. And if you have not haven't had a chance to attend that banquet, that's pretty phenomenal. I know for me, you know, I didn't pursue higher ed until I was 23, and knowing what proper etiquette is was definitely far from this, just my brain in some ways. So the structure and just the professionalism that these students learned that evening and just brought to the table, and their conversation, the topics was just so professional and elite in a sense. And then there was a demonstration of service as well, because it's the upperclassmen that are serving the underclassmen as well. So Superintendent Hyde was the keynote speaker that night, and it's always good to hear a different side of Superintendent. So I just want to say, Superintendent, I know you're not here, but I really appreciate you revealing more about yourself to our students in a big way that night. And then again, thank you to Dr. Downing for the work that she did around that great event. So now we look to the horizon. And the horizon is honoring our 2024 graduates in one of the best times of the year. And be sure to have your sanitizer on hand, because we're going to shake a lot of hands. And we look forward to doing that. So that concludes my comments for tonight. And now at this point, we will now transition to our public comments. Board members. So the next item is our public comment section addressing items not on our agenda tonight. So as noted earlier, to register to speak, community members, you must fill out the card. So we're looking forward to hearing your comments tonight. You'll be given the 3 minutes. The light will turn yellow when you have 1 minute left, and you will hear a beep when your time is concluded. Please note again that although the board encourages community participation, no immediate action is going to be taken on these items tonight. So if follow-up board action is required, then the matter will be then placed on the agenda at a subsequent meeting in accordance with the school board policy. So I have a list of individuals who have signed up to speak. So if you could come forward when I call your name, and then we have a red line over there as well for the individual that I call to then be on deck as well. So state your name and address for the record, and you'll have those 3 minutes to talk. So first of all, we have Bernard Wells. You're our first speaker tonight. I do not see Bernard Wells in the audience. So next we have, all right, claim your time, Mr. Wells. So glad you're here. So you can come forward. And then we have Baisden Jr. This would be Wayman Baisden Jr. You're on deck.
Greetings to each of you. My name is Bernard Wells from Winter Haven. Excuse me. As I previously have brought to you guys' attention that in a couple of years the district would be so top-heavy that it would suffer back problems. I think we have reached that point. ESC staff has been cut from every school across the district in some form or fashion. And with the COVID money running out at the end of this year, more cuts are inevitable. How is it that you guys, in good conscience, excuse me, can continue to have these high-level positions within the department and cut school-based personnel that directly impact students and students' outcome? Why is it necessary, especially, excuse me, especially when the ESC department is in a major decline? Additionally, there has been more state complaints and due process hearings since the superintendent and at least one of your board members have managed to dismantle the ESC department. Therefore, this appearance seems to have the POLK look to it, and it doesn't stand for Polk County Schools. It stands for People of Little Knowledge. Since students with disabilities generate a massive amount of dollars to this district, my inquiring mind would still like to know, where is that money? The children are still waiting, and they deserve better. Prior to the superintendent coming on board, the Polk County School was a B district. Presiding chair, as one of the supervisors of the superintendent, do you guys question him about anything that I've brought forth thus far? A prime example would be the Medicaid money that he declared at one point was being left on the table. It wasn't on the table then, and it's not on the table now. Excuse me. One can only conclude that not only has he managed to dismantle the ESC department, but is still on his way to dismantling the entire district. Presiding chair, how much longer are you guys going to allow this failure of our most vulnerable students to continue to their destruction and their livelihoods? Lastly, in order to educate our students, we need our teachers. Cutting school-based ESC staff should not be an option. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. Raymond Beesden, and then on deck we have George Hanoi.
Yeah, this is my first time. My name is Wayman Baisden. My son goes to Highland City Elementary, and still getting these books, man. Are we still trying to push that, or what are we doing here? He's a first grader. You're trying to push his thoughts. Are we going to work through this, or y'all going to keep putting this into elementary schools? It's plain and simple. I don't mess with y'all. I don't mess with the school. But when my kids bring us home, that's unacceptable. So I hope we can do something about it. Because he's 8 years old. That's all I need. And that's your district. That's your school.
Thank you, sir. Lisa Willman, you're up. And then on next, Joe Ellen McPeak.
Hi, my name is Lisa Willman. I live in Winter Haven. At the end of this month, I will have completed my 25th year of teaching. My husband is also a teacher with 20 years of experience. My family moved to Polk County in 2005. At that time, there was also a teacher shortage. So Polk County was actively recruiting teachers from outside the state. Polk County promised a secure future for my family. There was a teacher pay scale at that time. It was promised that I would move up that pay scale and eventually be able to reach the top of that scale. I was promised health insurance as well. With this agreement and promise for a bright future, my family loaded up the car. My husband and I, my mother, our 1-year-old son, a large dog, and a cat. Have you ever taken a road trip with a baby, a cat, and a dog? I don't know who cried more, the cat, the infant, or me. We traveled 900 miles to make our new home, leaving behind friends and family to make a new life here in Polk County. My husband and I have been loyal employees, spending countless hours outside of our school day, attending school events like art shows, music concerts, sporting events, community events at the school, and so on. On top of that, we spend many hours in the evening writing lesson plans and curriculum for our classes, grading papers, and contacting parents. Based on the parameters set by the district evaluation procedures, my husband and I are both classified as highly effective teachers. We have upheld our end of the bargain. Instead of the secure future that we were promised, we have been given many years of stagnant pay. Our pay scale is no longer based on years of experience. It has become so convoluted that one needs a decoder ring to figure out what their actual salary will be. And even then, it's not guaranteed that the payroll office will pay us correctly. Every year, I've watched the district bargaining team try to strip away our health insurance benefit. This board and the district bargaining team like to blame the state legislature for their inability to pay us. A great deal of that blame does fall on the legislature. However, this board has not made any effort to offset the state budget by making a common sense decision to bring a millage tax increase to the voting public. I urge you to quit making excuses and start upholding your promises to your employees. And I did add, while I was in the meeting, that it was mentioned by a board member that if we know someone in Tallahassee, we should tell them. We do. That's you guys. You are elected officials with access to lawyers and lobbyists. What are we waiting for?
Lisa Willman, and then Joellen McPeak. And then on deck, we have Elizabeth Rasmussen.
Hi, good evening. My name is Joellen McPeak. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a former Polk County Public Schools teacher. My last day with Polk County Public Schools was February 16th of this year. I never thought that I would leave the classroom. I've had my leadership masters for several years. I love my classroom. I couldn't do it anymore. I can't afford it. I have a modest home with very modest mortgage. I have an old car. I fired my lawn guy. It was unsustainable. I had to have 2 or 3 side hustles to make ends meet. Just as was said before, we have talked for years about how Tallahassee is not funding our schools. And prior to the pandemic, we talked about a millage, and it stopped. You need the millage. You're losing teachers. We can't sustain it. The demands are too much, and we cannot continue to sustain this life. I had to leave Polk County Public Schools. I'm still in education. But that was my decision because it was no longer sustainable. You're losing veteran teachers. And you need to figure out how to get the money from Tallahassee, whether you vote the right people in so that they start putting money to the schools instead of sending it to vouchers and charter schools and the variety of other places that it's going, not your Polk County Public Schools. Polk County Public Schools do it better. You need to keep your teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth Rasmussen, and then Sherry Ross, you are on deck.
I'm Elizabeth Rasmussen. I'd like to defer my time to Ms. Nabiha Ali.
Okay.
Good evening, distinguished board members and Superintendent Hyde. My name is Nabiha Ali, and I am a middle school teacher at Lee Gibson Middle. I teach 6th grade language arts and 6th, 7th, and 8th grade reading. Superintendent Hyde mentioned that 12 of the districts are back to the table, have referendums that are flush with resources, and that your decision to wait to return to the table is in an effort to not to lowball your employees and their possible salary increases. And yet, despite ongoing conversations with PEA about the board moving forward with a similar millage referendum, which would help ensure equitable raises in the future, the superintendent and this board has decided not to put the millage referendum on the ballot. If you want your employees to be compensated fairly, as Superintendent Hyde stated at the last board meeting, then make our salaries the priority in your budget. Place a referendum on the November ballot and set more dates to discuss what can be done this year while we continue to languish as one of the top-rated states for education, but the lowest funded schools in Florida with the 50th lowest average teacher salary. Just as Jason Pitts mentioned in today's work session, it's hard to attract qualified applicants with the low wages offered by Polk. We saw all of these people earlier today that we were recognizing as bus drivers and teachers and couriers who have multiple sources of income, not because they want to do this, but because they cannot afford to live how we need to live. It's a basic living wage. We're asking for help. We're asking for recognition in monetary form. We want to teach. We love to teach. We just want proper compensation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sherry Ross, and then Stephanie Yoakum, you're on deck.
Hi, my name is Sherry Ross and I live in Bartow. I've taught in Polk County schools for 31 years. By every measure of Polk County, of Florida, and this nation, I am a highly effective teacher. As an art teacher, my students take the AP Art exam and they excel. They beat all of the records. They beat the state averages and they beat the national averages. My students get scholarships and free college from that. I say this not to toot my own horn, but because I've been here long enough to remember when Jeb Bush promised me that by the end of that decade, I was going to make $100,000 a year. I'm in a time bubble because I still haven't hit it 15 years after that end of that decade. I'm at the top of our pay scale, and I'm nowhere near that. I drive 30 minutes a day, every day, each way to my work. I could turn my car in a different direction and get a $14,000 a year raise to do exactly the same thing for someone else's kids. We are 50th out of 50 states nationwide in lowest teacher pay. Polk County is the 7th largest county in Polk County. We're the home to Publix. We have a thriving business community, and we have affluent neighborhoods, and our teachers can't afford to live in them. When I was thinking about this, Hyde has mentioned, oh, those other counties have millages. Why don't we? If you're saying you can't afford to pay us, you already know the answer. You have it. You've mentioned it. You know to put that millage on there. You know you need to train people to understand what that millage is for and why they need to vote for it. And I sat here tonight in this meeting and you lauded the amazing bus drivers, because I'm going on there, about that wonderful bus drivers who saved the lives of our students. And you sat there and applauded them. And then you applauded teachers who are driving buses for teacher salary. If you would pay your people, you wouldn't have shortages in the bus drivers. You wouldn't have 1,000 open jobs when we start the school year. Our kids would be getting a valued education. I'm teaching in a school that has so many subs and critical teaching shortages, it's not even funny. You are robbing our children by not doing your job and going after that millage and educating our populace about why we need it.
Thank you, Ms. Ross. Ms. Yoakum is next, and then Dr. Erica Moore is on deck.
Stephanie Yoakum, President of the Polk Education Association. On the heels of Teacher Appreciation Week, there is only one board member tonight that specifically shouted out teachers. Thank you. I had hoped that at this May meeting, on the heels of Teacher Appreciation Week, that I could be issuing this comment to items on the agenda, praising this board for putting staff and students first, for having the courage to vote to put a millage referendum on the November ballot. But alas, I must speak in general comment with disappointment that this board has remained silent on one of the very few things you actually have power to do, since the state has stripped your board's autonomy to do a lot of things. This is the one thing that you can do, and you refuse to do it and talk about it. We view your inability to discuss our vital bread and butter issues as short-sighted and borderline derelict of duty to the responsibilities that you have to recruit and retain quality educators across the board, not just for teachers, but our paraeducators, our secretaries, our bus drivers, who Ms. Ross had mentioned earlier, our maintenance workers who cannot get to the schools fast enough to fix the AC issues that are popping up again. You have that responsibility to secure funding sources if the state is impotent to do so, which they have been for 30 years at this point. It is your responsibility to put a millage referendum on this ballot in November. And the failure for you to do so is a derelict of your duty to our children, to our teachers and staff, and to this community at large. The clock is just about out for this board to consider putting such a needed millage referendum on the November ballot. If this board does not take action, Polk will not only be one of the only bigger districts in Central Florida and the state without a millage referendum for employee salaries, but our rank of lowest average teacher pay in the Tampa Bay area and the broader Central Florida region will continue to stagnate as other districts and their boards have had the courage to bring a millage referendum to the voters for their kids, their grandkids, and the village of their children in their communities. Florida now ranks 50th out of 51 in average teacher salaries. That's an average coming in at $53,098. Polk's average teacher pay is $49,329. $3,769 below the state average and almost $5,000 less than our major competing districts in the area. If this board does not seriously start talking about the need for a millage referendum and putting it to a vote for you to go to the county commission so it can be on the November ballot, we are going to continue to see substitutes rotating in and out of our classrooms, kids getting to school late because of bus driver shortages and hot class. Put a millage referendum on the November ballot.
Thank you, Ms. Yoakum. All right, board members, if there's no other business to come before the board tonight, we will now adjourn. Thank you.